Hey friends, what's up? Ash here with Gents. Hope that you're doing well. Today I've got a fragrance that I actually wasn't even aware was kind of a hype beast. Look at me, not knowing anything that's going on. But it caught my attention because A, it's cheap, and B, I was buying a lot of fragrances from this house, and C, I just put it in my freaking cart. And it's this one, it's from Lattafa. It's called Ejaazi Intensive Silver. And apparently this is supposed to be a clone of good old Nuit Bleu Electrique. Yeah, look at that. Remember this one? Everybody was like, oh, I love it. And then YSL went, oh, that's good. It's discontinued. Can't find it in the US. Thanks, YSL. I mean, sometimes it pops up at discounters, but then it's sold out before anybody even knows that it's there. It's like, here, gone. Oh, that was quick. So in today's video, I will show you the presentation, break the fragrance down for you, and let you know what I think about it. So let's jump into it. Now, as I said, this one from Fragrance Buy, right about $16. I'll link it in the description in case you want to check it out. It's also at jomashop.com. I think they had it for like just a little under 15. So it's like $15, give or take $1 in either direction, essentially. And this is nothing to do with Fragrance Buy, but guess what? If you want to shop at luckyscent.com, use the code 10GENTS, save 10% off anything on that website, or twistedlily.com. or maxaroma.com, use the code GENTS10. Save yourself 10% off anything on that website. So 10 Gents for Lucky Scent, Gents 10 for Twisted Lily and Max Aroma. All right, presentation time. Let's take a look at it. So here you got the front of the box. You got the name of the fragrance, name of the house, size and concentration, 100 ml eau de parfum. On top of the box, you have the Lattafa logo. On the back, you have the ingredients and your little certificate of authenticity. And then on the bottom, you have your barcode and your batch code. And here we have the bottle. Not the worst looking bottle I've seen from Lattafa, but not the best either. You got the name of the house, name of the fragrance right there on the front. You have Lattafa on top of the cap. On the side, it says Eau de Parfum Natural Spray. And on the other side, Intensive Silver. There's nothing on the back. And on the bottom, you have a sticker. Now, truth be told, before I actually looked up what this fragrance was supposed to be, because I was just going through, and I've talked about this, I made a big purchase of a lot of different Lattafa fragrances that I've never smelled to see, which ones are good and which ones suck. Big ones. I've actually got a couple that I haven't talked about that I'll talk about in the future, maybe on the extra channel. But yeah, this one I saw and I was like, that has got to be a Silver Mountain Water clone. Right? Because it's called Intensive Silver, comes in this silver package and everything. It's got to be Silver Mountain Water. I mean, that fragrance has been knocked off a million times, so it would make sense. So then I went on to the old entry nets, went on to Fragrantica, and that's where it said, oh, Nuit Bleu Electrique / Nuit Alone. And I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense. But if it is Blue Electrique, cool, I'll throw it in there. And this should be my last Lattafa for a while. There are only 2 fragrances at this point that I haven't talked about from that haul. And like I said, maybe I'll talk about those later on the extra channel. Extra Gents Scents, in case you're unaware, just type it in YouTube. So, question of the hour here, because apparently there's been just, all over the place with this fragrance. Some people find it very, very similar to Blue Electrique. Other people don't find it similar at all. It's all over the place. When I first sprayed this on, I was not wearing it next to Blue Electrique. I just pulled it out of the box, sprayed it on, and gave it a whiff. And I will tell you that I thought it smelled absolutely nothing at all like Nuit Alone or Nuit Bleu Electrique. When I sprayed it on by itself, I was like, nah, this ain't close. Main thing missing from Intensive Silver, the cardamom. I didn't smell it at all. And cardamom is really what keeps people coming back to Nuit Alone. It's what draws them in. It's what makes the fragrance. And same thing goes with Blue Electrique. It's that cardamom, that sweet, sexy, spicy opening. And so I was like, yeah, Intensive Silver is a bust. It doesn't smell a thing like Blue Electrique. So that sucks. That said, I did spray them both on same day on a tester strip, and I thought, they're a little closer on the strip when you have them, one in this hand, one in this hand, and you start doing this deal back and forth. But then that gets a little bit tricky sometimes because it's almost like you're tricking yourself into thinking, oh, maybe they're a little bit closer. And also, you smell one, give it a second, smell the other. How much is what you just smelled influencing what you're smelling the second time, you know? By that, I mean, maybe you smell the La Nuit de l'Homme and you get that cardamom, obviously, and then you go over here and smell this one and you still almost have that cardamom lingering in your nose. So then you smell the second fragrance and you think, oh, well, you know, it's a little similar, but it's actually not. So whatever, the first time I wore it, I thought not close at all. Period. It's not a clone. Fast forward the next day and the day after, what I did is I took Bleu Electrique, I sprayed it on over here. I took Intensive Silver, sprayed it on over here, and tried to contrast and compare as best as you can do when you're doing this. Highly scientific, highly scientific. Feel free to do your own experiments using this groundbreaking style of fragrance comparison. So I would say that when you spray them on side by side and you can just go back and forth, they do smell more similar than when I just sprayed this on by itself. Because this by itself, as I said, it did not remind me of La Nuit de l'Homme at all. Like if I were blindfolded, you sprayed that on and you said, okay, what's that a clone of? I would never in a million years guess La Nuit de l'Homme. But then when you start going back and forth, you start picking out little bits and pieces that are similar between the two, and you start to go, well, it's a little bit. So I will say La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique, even with them side by side though, I would say in the opening, La Nuit de l'Homme Bleu Electrique is fresher. That cardamom, again, is missing here. You could kind of say, well, it's a little cardamom-ish, this Intensive Silver, even though I'm not sure if it's an official note or not, but you could smell it side by side with La Nuit de l'Homme and be like, well, it's a little cardamom-y, but it's not as much as Bleu Electrique, and it's really not close. Bleu Electrique is fresher, has more of an aromatic feel to it in the opening there, that little bit of fresh green feeling around the edge of the scent going along with that spiciness, that sweetness that La Nuit de l'Homme is known for. That's missing a bit in Intensive Silver. Intensive Silver instead comes across a little bit dustier. It has this ambery sweetness to it, this ambery warmth, I should say, that comes through a bit more than Bleu Electrique, or actually a decent amount more. As well, you're missing that fresh lavender that you pick up in Bleu Electrique. I don't pick up any of that here, even though if you go back and forth, you can find similarities between Bleu Electrique and Intensive Silver. On the whole, I don't really think that Intensive Silver is a replacement for La Nuit de l'Homme or Bleu Electrique, either one. It's not that Intensive Silver smells bad. Certainly for about $15, it doesn't smell bad at all, but it's not close enough to Bleu Electrique for me personally to say, oh, Bleu Electrique or La Nuit de l'Homme, the original, don't need them. You don't need them. You can get this for $15. It'll do the same thing. There are marked differences between the two in the opening and the dry down, with Intensive Silver being focused more on a little bit of a woodiness, dusty, ambery warmth. And it does have a bit of a spiciness to it, but it's not as pronounced. It's not as high quality as Bleu Electrique. The cardamom, the lavender, the geranium, those fresher notes in Bleu Electrique that you pick up, they're missing in Intensive Silver. The citrus is a little bit cleaner in Bleu Electrique. And as they dry, the focus, goes more and more toward an ambery, dusty bit of sweetness with the Intensive Silver. And then over on the Bleu Electrique side, it maintains that aromatic feel, that bit of cardamom that lingers into the mid and even a bit into the dry down. All of that is missing in the Lattafa here. Now, as I said before, and as I alluded to, you can go back and forth and do this about that quick. And if you do, you might get kind of duped in a way into feeling like, oh yeah, it's actually pretty close. Because if you do that sometimes, it does feel kind of close. But also, I really think that that's just kind of the notes starting to overlap in your brain as you go back and forth. That didn't look right. But you know what I'm saying. So unfortunately for me, Intensive Silver is not going to be a great one-to-one clone of Bleu Electrique. I'm not even sure that I would necessarily call it like Bleu Electrique with a twist. It's just a different fragrance where if maybe you key in on certain aspects of Bleu Electrique and then certain aspects of Intensive Silver, you could say, oh, pretty similar, but then it's like you're missing the forest for the trees or whatever. Like you're focusing in on this one part of the fragrance and missing everything else around it if you would say that these are like 95% similar. But again, that's just my opinion, of course. I really hate putting percentages on how similar something smells because it just feels arbitrary, like I'm pulling it out of the sky or something. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna say it's not a one-to-one with Bleu Electrique. But I do think Intensive Silver for $15 smells very nice. The quality is amazing for that price point, but understand the type of fragrance it is more a dusty amber, as I said, a little citrus up top, a little woodiness as it dries down, and a nice spice. More focused for me on that amber than the spice side of things though, especially as it dries. I think I forgot to show you the atomizer on this one, so let me do that really quickly. Sorry. So here we go. Let's give it a couple sprays. Yeah, the atomizer is actually not very good. I don't know if that comes across on camera all that clearly, but the atomizer is pretty weak here. Now, in terms of performance, Intensive Silver is actually pretty good as long as you can get enough of it on your skin because that atomizer puts out a fairly weak puff. Projection is more average for me, maybe slightly above average, but the longevity is quite good off skin and lasts a long time. So I'm sorry if it's disappointing that I personally don't find it ultra close to La Nuit Bleu Electrique. But the fragrance itself, as I said, is still very solid. It's worth checking out. And maybe you could say it's kind of in like the family of La Nuit L'Homme, you know, that style of fragrance, a warmer, sweet fragrance that's easy to wear, but again, noticeably different Bleu Electrique. And that aromatic feel, that cardamom that you get from Bleu Electrique, that added freshness is completely missing in Intensive Silver for me. So there we go. Intensive Silver from Lattafa. It's worth checking out. It's not a bad buy for 15 bucks. Smells nice, quite versatile. My wife likes it, but she also said it doesn't smell like La Nuit L'Homme. All right, that'll do it for me. Thank you for hanging with me here. And I know this one has kind of been, as I said, all over the place. So I'm sure a lot of you out there have already gotten this and you think, man, this is an amazing La Nuit L'Homme clone. And I know there are other people that think, no, it's not. I don't know where that huge disconnect comes from this one. People keying in on different parts of the fragrance possibly. But if you own this one, and you think it is or is not a good alternative to Bleu Electrique, let people know. Thank you for hanging with me. Thanks for your support. Stay safe out there. I'll see you again tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.